Hello, fellow TheSheepEmpire. Today I'm going to be starting my new campaign as Great Britain in Empire Total War. So, Empire Total War is basically a game set in the 1700s, goes till about 1800, so it's covering the entire period till, well, from after the Renaissance to the French Revolutionary Wars, and the growing of the colonial empires. So this game basically focuses on, well, Europe, of course, the Americas, and India. So in India, basically, the Mughal Empire, which is basically the leading force in India till 1700. Well, it was established after the spread of Islam went through to India and to Malaysia, and it stayed in power for a long time until some local princes united and formed the Maratha Confederacy, which was a Hindu union, and they united and fought the Mughals and had some success until the British came. So, yeah, basically the Marathas and the Mughals are the big powers in this region. There's also some colonial holdings and Mysore, which is a smaller Islamic state allied to the Marathas, and also a Dutch colony over here. So if we go up, we see Persia, which is still around in this time period. So they still control a huge region over here, so modern day Western Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and Azerbaijan. They control a huge region over here, but they usually don't last that long because they're rather weak at the beginning. The Ottomans are over here, so they're in a very interesting situation. So Europe in the past few hundred years can be described as the history of the Ottoman Empire, with a few like annoying countries trying to stop them conquering the world. Because the Ottomans started out during the Crusades. The first Turkish states emerged in the Middle East, and through the beginning of the Renaissance, they started conquering vast swathes of land. Claimed Egypt, the Levant, Iraq, well, modern Iraq, and Anatolia, and then ensuingly went to a war with the Byzantines. They destroyed one of the longest lasting empires of history. So you can technically call them the destroyers of Eastern Rome. And they protruded into Europe for a very long time, and had several attempts of capturing Vienna, which was basically the gateway to the rest of Europe. So if the Austrians hadn't stood tall against the Ottomans, Europe would have been probably invaded. But now the Ottoman Empire is starting to have its first decline. Well, it's debatable, but this is kind of the era where the decline starts, until they're completely disiluded in the First World War. So up here we see the Ottomans' second mortal enemy aside from Austria, which is Russia. So Russia is a rather new country to Europe, and they will remain for a very long time kind of backwater, and they managed to stay important in European politics because of their massive manpower and their huge amounts of land that they own. So the Caucasus, which is basically this part over here, and Circassia, is been a big war region between the Ottomans and the Russians for a long time. And so we'll probably see a big war between these guys. If we move further over here, we see Poland, which it's a very old kingdom, and it usually gets destroyed very easily, even though I did see some campaigns where they actually beat back some of their enemies, they usually get destroyed rather quickly. So they shouldn't be around for long, but I guess maybe we'll see an interesting Poland game one day. Up here we see Sweden, which basically had its very large rise in power during the Renaissance. At some point, even owned large swathes of land in northern Germany, and they're probably going to focus on Denmark. They're going to take these two regions, and Norway. They probably will push into northern Germany just a bit, and they're probably going to go in a big war with Russia. So then over here we see the big mess that is the Holy Roman Empire. So basically all the German states, which are separated, form this quasi-nation of the Holy Roman Empire, which was divided into all these smaller states, which were technically, but not formally independent. And Austria over here has been, or the Habsburg monarchy of Austria, for the least, has been leading the Holy Roman Empire, for a long time. But now, some contenders that wish to dissolute the Holy Roman Empire have started growing, because Austria is simply losing power. It doesn't have the strength after the Ottoman invasions and all the other stuff that's happening to them, especially their multinational empire that's starting to get a lot of rebellions. They can't really keep the empire together that much, which will lead to its dissolution no more than 100 years later by Napoleon. But a large part of that was also Prussia, which is basically Austria's greatest German rival. And Prussia is basically the super militaristic state that has really disciplined armies, and they really focus on their army. Like Voltaire said, Prussia is an army with a state instead of a state with an army. So then we move on to Italy, which is also divided. Not that much interesting stuff there. Spain owns a lot of territory here. The rest is controlled by smaller nation states and city states. The Hospitaller Knights are still around on Malta. Then on the coast of northern Africa we have the Barbary states, which are basically North African pirates that raid the Mediterranean. Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. So Portugal and Spain, big colonial empires, because of their close proximity to Africa and the Atlantic. Then we have France, which is around 1700. They're the most developed military country in Europe. Prussia's, they're close behind, but they'll rise around 50 to 60 years later under Frederick the Great. And France is gonna play like a big role with the Revolutionary Wars and Napoleon and all that. Then we have the Dutch. So yeah, the Dutch. And us. Yay, Great Britain. So start off new calendar, which is important because it starts off this era. And to finish off, let's see the Americas. So basically all the countries I showed you in Europe have, well, most of them at least, or the larger ones, have colonies. France owns this part of Canada. Great Britain have the 13 colonies over here, so the future US. Spain has probably the most immense American empire, which reaches all the way over here. Then there's also some Caribbean colonies from France, the Dutch, the Spanish, also Jamaica and the Bahamas. But there are still some native tribes around resisting. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in America, because it's probably one of the most vital colonies, is the 13 colonies for me. India only comes in later, which will replace the role of the US, which separated from the UK. But for now, this should be our main colonial focus. So to start off, because we're an island nation, we're going to focus a lot on Navy, and we're gonna want to form a huge colonial empire and only involve ourselves in European matters from a distance. Basically just stay on our rock, maybe send an island over to whoever's causing trouble. But basically just keep the European balance. That's what the British did historically, so let's do that. Alright, so we have Sir Isaac Newton over here. We move him to Cambridge. So a lot of new technology is also important in this era. It's the beginning of the real use of line regiments using muskets and cannons. So I think this is some pretty good tech, but for now, I believe because we're not really going to use our army that much, we could probably focus on income, because we're going to need more money to expand our colonial empire and keep the Royal Navy in check. So, we're a constitutional monarchy. Most other nations are absolute monarchies or empires, but there are some democracies as well. So, honestly, our greatest two rivals are probably France and Spain. And we have, mostly our allies are in Germany and the Dutch, basically. That's mostly our allies, as well as Portugal. They'll be a good front line against Spain. And we also control a large part of America. The Indian factions aren't really that friendly with us, but trade with the Marathas could get us a whole lot of income because they have very exotic things they can trade. So, get a trade agreement there. So that'll give us a lot of income. Probably don't want to trade with France because we're going to go to war with them a lot. I mean, these are just natural enemies till World War I. What else can we trade with? Prussia is going to be important. They're going to be our main military ally in Europe. Oh. I shouldn't have done that. I was trying to get an alliance. We'll see if we can get them on board with us. They'll be able to help us out with France. So currently we're still in an old system of alliances with Austria, and we're in a personal union with Hanover, as well as with the Dutch. So our king is actually a Dutch guy. And Portugal, which is our important ally down here. So let's try to trade with more people. Denmark. Is there any other? They're all unfriendly, and those that are friendly can't trade. Let's see, can we trade? Are we already trading with our colonies? Yeah, we are. They're friendly. Let's trade. And nah, can't do that. Just gotta get as much money as possible. Trade is very important at this time period. Why does everyone want my money? Guess we'll wait a turn till everyone has enough money to go around till we try and get any trade agreements. So right now our fleet's rather small. We have a 5th rate here, and a small fleet in the Channel. But we should probably focus on expanding our navy, because that's going to be our lifeline to our colonies. Right now we can't get a dry dock, which would allow us to get third-rate ships and second-rate ships. So ships of the line are going to be really important. So in tech, as soon as we're done with that, we should probably focus on naval shore facilities and then naval architecture advances to be able to get those big ships. Army-wise, we're not that developed. We have a rather good general over here. Yeah, you're going down here. We still have some troops in Ireland. We could probably put these in the colonies in case we would need that. We're still very distant from our colonies, so probably getting Iceland would be a good way of securing our trade routes with the 13 colonies, and also having a little base to reinforce our colonies from. They're going to be very weakened from a war with Sweden. Sweden usually takes out all of their land territory, so we should be free to conquer Iceland. That'll be a great advantage. So in America, there's some kind of objectives we need to achieve before we're able to annex the colonies. That'll be a big help. Until then, though, we're gonna have to hold out over here. And I think we have another, yeah, our Caribbean colonies. So this is our priest. He converts people to our religion. So we're gonna try and convert all of these Native Americans to Protestantism to avoid any bad things happening. And let's see. We have a small force in Jamaica. Force. And in the Bahamas. This is going to be important. We can build plantations here. So plantations basically give you the ability to grow the American resources, and then you can ship them off for trade routes to Europe and make a great profit. But we're going to check our trade tab to see which is more worth it. Sugar or coffee. So sugar's worth 12 loaf, and coffee is like worth 8 a bag. So I'm gonna go with sugar. Hopefully the prices don't fluctuate too much, but that'll be a useful source of income. We have a rather large army in the Bahamas already, and we have our Caribbean fleet, which will just dock at Grand Bahama just because those pirates are still marauding right here. So that can be a short-term objective as well, getting these pirate islands under control. British played a big role in that. So we have another fleet here, which we're going to group them up. Alright. Oh, that's interesting. They have William Penn, who's actually the Protestant guy what Pennsylvania is named after. So he's the founder of this state. It's interesting they put him as a priest. Well, I guess it kind of makes sense because he had a lot of religious stuff. He did a kind of experiment in Pennsylvania where he let all the persecuted Christian sects from Europe come to Pennsylvania, which caused a lot of culture mixes. So the Amish are actually a branch of Christians that came to Pennsylvania, as well as the Quakers and other stuff like that. So, important historical figure right there. Alright, now let's start with construction. Well, in Europe. We can build some farms here. Farms are very good. And factories. Don't want to be behind on any of those factories. Manchester, Liverpool. Those are going to be important industrial cities. What can we build in Edinburgh? Nothing of great importance, but we can get this, which will give us more regional wealth. Ooh, that's expensive. Wait, what was that expensive that I just bought? Was this? Oh yeah, that's expensive. I guess it will give us more income in the long term, so... Alright, what else do we want to spend our money on? Probably more administration things. Let's get our spy to Europe, just to end the turn. So we have an eye observing in Europe. That'll be important. I have 2 admirals. Anyways, I think that should be it. Let's end the turn. The Ottomans want trade, and they offer us a lot of money. Alright, we'll get those eastern spices. That'll allow us to get a whole lot of money. We should probably also think of establishing a trade fleet, because trade is such an important... Oh god, what just happened? Oh, the Iroquois are attacking... Huh, never seen that happen before. So, a native tribe just attacked my colonies in America. Honestly, they should be able to handle some barbarians like that. I wouldn't really bother sending any troops over there. It's not like I need them, but... Oh. Alright, so what do we need to do? Take Quebec, Cherokee, wait, what was it again? Cherokee Territory and Georgia. So we just need to conquer the Cherokees and go out to a big war with the French. They actually don't have that much defending them. If these guys fall, then that's gonna be bad. Oh god, do we have any troops we can quickly send over there? I have some rangers over here, but that's not gonna save them. Oh, we've discovered New Guinea and Australia. That's great. Well, it doesn't actually show up anywhere here, but we do have a trade post. I guess that's the closest thing to Australia. So, what I was talking about with the trade fleets, sorry. Basically you send your fleets to these little trading places, and then they will go to these trade posts and they're going to trade with the locals, and they're going to send back those resources to Europe so you can sell them, get a whole lot of money again. So that's a recurring theme. Alright, let's see what the French are up to. Alright, so it looks like they've moved their army to Strasbourg, so they're probably planning a war with one of these German states. Interesting, interesting. We might have to stop France before they become crazy and try to conquer all of Europe. If we can stop them. Alright, what else can we build? Great Parliament. Alright, let's build that. How's our research going? Alright, almost there. Then we'll be able to upgrade all our farms. There's actually a lot of Catholics still in England. I guess I'll just build something in Scotland then, because I have too much money to spare. We should probably form up our troops for an attack on Iceland, so that we can actually help out our allies, well, our colonies, in America. I'm gonna keep my fleet in the English Channel just in case the French get up to something. But that should be a rather easy battle taking out Denmark. They probably don't have any allies. Oh, Russia. Oh god, that's gonna be annoying. I want to go to war with Russia. I mean, they're friendly to us, so. I could probably... Can I get an alliance with them? Yeah, no I can't. But I should be able to use that historical friendship to get a peace thing rather quickly. Honestly, I won't bother for the Swedes to finish up this stuff. I mean, they usually don't have any troops in Iceland at all, so should be fine. I have this massive fleet in the Caribbean, though. We could very probably actually transport some troops to America. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to bring them to just defend Boston or whatever city's under attack. Yeah, they're going to Boston. Oh jeez. I hope they'll recruit some more units. Doesn't look like they can't actually get anything good. Oh, that's gonna be problematic. Anyways, so yeah, this has been a good start. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm gonna actually end the video. But I think it's been a good start. We've established our position in Europe and in the Americas. And I hope to see all of you in the next episode, where we're gonna try conquer Iceland and take our troops and defend our colonies under attack. As always, have a good one, and go Cushy!